I didn't care about Android until this year because nothing ever stood out to me. Nothing broke through the clutter and grabbed me and said, hey, you need to try this phone. But this year's Samsung flagship was different. Instead of copying what everyone else was doing, Samsung made a phone that stood out. A device visibly different from everything the competition was releasing. It was the Samsung Galaxy S8, my first Android ever. The biggest reason you'll want to buy this phone is because of the Infinity display. It's a big sharp OLED panel that gives you unparalleled blacks and vibrant colors, coming at you at 570 pixels per inch with a resolution of 2960 by 1440. It's damn good, but it's big. Because the screen takes up pretty much the entire front of the phone, there's no physical home button. It's been replaced with a pressure sensitive area at the bottom of the screen that feels a lot like the iPhone 7's home button. I really like the way it feels, and having a software only home button isn't a negative like I thought it might be. With that being said, there's one big caveat. There's no fingerprint sensor on the front either. That's been pushed to the back, and it's every bit as terrible as you might think. It's in an awkward spot, and you never really know if you're touching the flash, or the camera, or the fingerprint sensor, or something else entirely. Feels sort of like a game, and this was a bad move. To help combat this misdesign, we got an iris scanner. It works well in most situations, even though the unlock time is slower than scanning your fingerprint, and it's not the most secure unlock method out there, but it's functional, and I think it's perfect for the everyday user. Now, one thing that really surprised me about this year's Galaxy was the lack of camera upgrades. They copy and pasted the same rear shooter from last year, and the image processing this time is said to be better. The thing is, I don't know how much of that's true. I think all the pictures shot on the Galaxy S8 turn out really well, especially in low light. But some photos still are way too saturated, something that Samsung has become far too well known for. But I still think it falls short of the iPhone. Not by a lot, just a little bit. The front-facing camera is now up to 8 megapixels, but something is weird here. The selfies look like something from a fairy tale dreamland. Cheeks are way too rosy, and faces look messily cleaned up. It's just weird, and I don't like it at all. Here's the same shot from my iPhone 7 for comparison, and I think this one has much more detail. Oh boy, then there's the whole Bixby thing. Samsung tried to make this cool assistant like Siri or Google Assistant, but it wasn't ready to ship yet. And they shipped it anyway. In fact, voice isn't a working feature yet. It's been out for a month and nothing has been fixed, at least here in the United States. Right now it's just a poorly designed dashboard for random stuff that I've only looked at accidentally. Samsung felt so confident this was going to be the next big thing that they dedicated a physical button on the phone to Bixby. The worst part? You can't remap the button. And if that's not cruel and unusual punishment, then I really don't know what is. Bixby is a mess and a failure, but that's okay because you've got Google Assistant and that is good. This is the point where we talk about Android. It's cool, I like the customization and material design is incredible, but iOS is still better by a lot. Apps on the Galaxy S8 don't run nearly as well as they do on my iPhone 7, but if you've used Android for a while, then you're probably used to that by now. It doesn't break the experience, it just makes the experience feel a lot cheaper, and for a $720 phone, that's a problem for me. Android 7.0 on the Galaxy S8 isn't bad, it just didn't blow me away. But it's not all doom and gloom for the Galaxy S8, because battery life is a big deal, and the Galaxy S8 has a big battery. The 3000 mAh will power through from morning to evening, and charging this phone before bed isn't a thought. I'm not using it one-to-one like I'm using my iPhone, but it doesn't die easily even with high performance mode continuously enabled. Plain and simple, Samsung's battery tech is just better than Apple's, besides that one phone that they released last year. The thing is, I'm not switching to the Galaxy S8 full-time because my workflow is Apple-based. If yours isn't and you're looking to buy this phone, here's my advice. Android users should totally go for it because you will not be let down. iPhone users, wait to see what Apple announces in the coming months, because I do not think we're going to be disappointed. The Galaxy S8 is Samsung's magnum opus, and you can see the work that they put into this phone. It's not out of this world, but it comes damn close.